The storm hit without warning. Kara gripped the controls of the research shuttle, her knuckles white. Outside, jagged flashes of green lightning tore across the sky, illuminating the alien landscape in eerie bursts. The winds howled like wild beasts, battering the hull with a force that seemed almost alive. "Brace yourself!" shouted Dax Riel, her rival and the shuttle's co-pilot. His voice was tense, sharp, as if the storm itself was a personal challenge to him. Kara glared at him, her heart racing. She hated that his calm, confident demeanor often made her feel inexperienced, but right now that confidence was keeping them alive. The shuttle shook violently and alarms blared. Instruments flickered and died. Kara fought the controls with all her strength, but a sudden gust slammed the shuttle against a jagged rock formation. Sparks flew. The hull groaned. "We're going down," Kara yelled. She yanked the lever, trying to stabilize the craft. Dax grabbed her arm, pulling her toward the emergency hatch. The impact threw them across the cabin. Glass shattered. Metal twisted. Kara hit the floor hard, pain shooting up her back. Dax groaned beside her. The shuttle skidded across the rocky ground and came to a final shuddering stop. Silence followed, broken only by the distant roar of the storm. Kara slowly got to her feet. Smoke filled the cabin, stinging her eyes. "We survived," she whispered. Dax coughed, waving away the smoke. "Barely," he said, his voice low. Neither of them spoke for a moment, each processing the shock. Outside, the planet stretched in every direction like a painting of chaos. Jagged cliffs, strange glowing plants, and rivers of thick, golden liquid shimmered under the green sky. The storm was still raging, but they had no choice. They needed shelter. Kara pulled a compact survival kit from the wreckage. Dax grabbed a laser tool and their emergency beacons. "We stick together," he said. Kara frowned. "Don't get sentimental on me, Riel. I'm not your friend," he smirked. "And I never said you were. But if you want to live, you'll follow my lead." They moved carefully over the uneven terrain. The storm had slowed but not stopped. The wind was sharp, cutting through their protective suits. Kara noticed the plants swaying violently, some releasing spores that sparkled like tiny stars in the air. She made a mental note to study them later, if they survived. Hours passed. Exhaustion set in. Their emergency rations helped, but water was low. The terrain grew even more dangerous. Cliffs that could crumble at a touch, rivers that glowed with strange chemicals, and large, jagged rocks that could topple without warning. Kara's ears picked up a strange, low humming sound. She froze. Dax noticed it too. "What is that?" she asked. "Not sure," he replied, scanning the area. "Could be wildlife. Could be the planet itself." The humming grew louder. Suddenly, a group of alien creatures burst from the mist. They were massive, with shining exoskeletons and multiple glowing eyes. Kara's heart pounded. She raised her laser tool, ready to defend herself. Dax did the same. The creatures hesitated, studying them. Then, in a synchronized movement, they charged. Kara fired a few warning shots, but the creatures were surprisingly fast. One lunged at her. She ducked, narrowly avoiding its sharp claws. "Follow me," Dax shouted, running toward a rocky overhang. Kara sprinted after him, heart hammering. They climbed up the rocks, using their strength and wits to stay just ahead of the creatures. Eventually, they reached a small cave. Inside, they collapsed, gasping for breath. "Why is it always you and me?" Kara muttered, frustration and relief mixing in her voice. Dax shrugged. "Because apparently the universe hates us both equally." Kara rolled her eyes but didn't argue. For now, survival was more important than rivalry. As they rested, Kara noticed something unusual on the cave floor. Tiny plants with silver leaves were scattered around. She bent down to examine one. As soon as she touched it, a faint, warm mist rose from the plant. Her body reacted immediately, heart rate increasing, skin tingling, and a strange sense of restlessness filling her. "What's wrong?" Dax asked, noticing her sudden change. Kara shook her head. "I don't know. It's like my body is reacting to this plant, strongly. The mist seemed to carry a scent that triggered intense alertness and heightened instincts. Kara realized she felt unusually vulnerable, almost like her senses were being hijacked by the planet itself. She had read about alien flora causing biological reactions, but this was beyond anything she expected. Dax studied the plant from a distance. "Stay away from that thing. It could be dangerous, or worse, predators might be attracted to it." Kara nodded, stepping back. Her body still felt restless, on edge, like it demanded movement, attention, and awareness. She clenched her fists. She hated being affected this way, especially around Dax. "Perfect timing, as always," she muttered, glaring at him. Dax gave a small, wry smile. "You mean my perfect timing in keeping you alive?" Kara ignored him. They spent the next hours assessing the cave, fortifying it against the elements. Kara marked the plants that caused the strange reaction, careful not to touch them again. Night fell, and the storm subsided slightly. Outside, the alien sky shimmered with green auroras and strange clouds. Kara and Dax sat near a small heat source, silently observing the sky. Kara broke the silence. "We need a plan. If we wait for rescue, we might not survive. This planet, it's alive in ways we don't understand." Dax nodded. "Agreed. First, we need water and food. Then we find a way to signal for help." The cave provided some shelter, but it was clear their struggle had just begun. The alien plants, the strange reactions, and the creatures outside were only the start. Kara could feel it in her bones. The planet was testing them, testing humanity. As she drifted into a restless sleep, her mind swirled with thoughts of survival, science, and strategy. She hated relying on Dax, but she couldn't deny that without him, she might not have made it this far. Dax watched her sleep for a moment, then turned his gaze toward the cave entrance. The storm had passed, but the planet's dangers were far from over. He knew one thing clearly. They could only survive if they worked together. Kara's body stirred again from the plant's effect, though she was asleep. Even in sleep, the strange influence of the flora reminded her of the planet's power. She would need every ounce of strength, every bit of human ingenuity to navigate this alien world. The first night on the hostile planet passed slowly, with the wind moaning outside the cave. Somewhere in the distance, alien creatures prowled. Somewhere nearby, more of the silverleaf plants released their strange mist. Kara's restlessness would continue, her body and mind constantly challenged. And Dax Riel, her sworn rival, would be her only companion. For better or worse, they were trapped together. And the planet had already made one thing very clear. It would not let them leave easily. The night ended with the strange hum of the planet, as if it were alive and watching. Kara and Dax had survived the crash. They had survived the storm. But survival on this world would require more than strength. It would require human courage, intelligence, and the ability to face fears, both external and internal. And the next day, their journey would truly begin. The morning light pierced through the jagged entrance of the cave, casting long shadows across the rocky floor. Kara stirred, her senses still heightened from the strange plant's effect. Her body felt restless, alert to every sound and movement. The wind outside had calmed, but the alien world still seemed alive, as if watching them. Dax was already awake, checking the surrounding area from the cave entrance. He glanced back at Kara. "You okay?" he asked, voice calm but cautious. Kara frowned. "As okay as I can be," she replied. "That plant, it's affecting me more than I thought." Dax nodded. "We'll avoid them. But we can't just hide forever. We need food, water, and shelter that isn't a cave." Kara sat up, rubbing her eyes. She didn't like relying on Dax, but she had to admit he had skills that complemented hers. Engineering, mechanics, survival strategy. He was the kind of person who could keep them alive in ways she hadn't imagined. Still, pride and rivalry made it hard to admit. They packed the minimal supplies they had salvaged from the shuttle wreckage. Kara carried a small satchel with scientific tools, a few rations, and water. Dax had a multi-purpose laser tool, spare, energy cells, and emergency beacons. Stepping out into the alien landscape, Kara shivered. The storm from the previous day had left everything glistening, rocks slick with alien minerals, plants bending under the weight of moisture, and strange mist rising from cracks in the ground. "Stay close," Dax warned. "These plants and creatures aren't the only threats. The terrain itself can kill you if you're not careful." Kara gritted her teeth and followed him. She noticed a faint humming vibration in the ground. Her heart rate increased automatically, an instinctive response to danger. The plants nearby shimmered with silver leaves, releasing faint clouds of mist. Kara instinctively took a step back, trying to avoid the effect. But she could feel the tingling in her body again. Dax noticed her hesitation. "You need to focus. Don't let the plant's effect distract you. It can't control you, yet." She took a deep breath. "Easy for you to say. You're not reacting to it." He gave a small serious nod. "Not like you, but we're still in this together. Focus on survival first." For hours, they navigated the alien terrain. Kara studied the plants and creatures from a distance, noting their behavior, while Dax assessed the rocky paths and unstable ground. They found small pools of water that were safe to drink after filtration, and edible plants that could sustain them for days. At midday, they reached a wide valley surrounded by jagged cliffs. Strange creatures with glowing eyes lurked among the rocks, observing them. Kara froze, feeling the plant's effect intensify. Her movements became sharper, more alert, almost like her body was operating on autopilot. Dax noticed her change. "You're on edge again. Focus on me, not the plant." Kara nodded, forcing herself to breathe steadily. Together they moved across the valley, using careful, deliberate steps. They made it safely to the other side, where a cluster of large boulders offered potential shelter from predators and the elements. "This will work," Dax said. "We can build a temporary camp here." Kara raised an eyebrow. "Temporary being the key word, I assume. You're already planning our escape route, I bet." "Of course," Dax replied with a faint smile. "Survival first, arguments later." Over the next few hours, they gathered materials to reinforce the boulders and create a small, safe living space. Kara used her knowledge of alien plants to identify which ones could be woven into barriers or used as insulation. Dax used his tools to carve stable supports and secure loose rocks. Slowly, a rudimentary shelter began to take shape. Despite their progress, the planet's dangers were constant. The humming sound they had noticed before grew louder in the evening. From the cliffs above, creatures began to move, drawn by the strange scent released by the silver leaf plants Kara had touched. Kara's body reacted instantly, the plant's effect making her restless and hyper-aware. She felt the need to move, to act, to anticipate danger before it came. Dax noticed her sudden shift in energy. "We're being watched," he said quietly. "Get ready." Kara picked up a long, sturdy branch for defense. Her mind was sharp, every sense heightened. When the creatures leapt from the shadows, they were ready. Using a combination of quick thinking, makeshift weapons, and teamwork, Kara and Dax managed to fend them off. "Not bad," Dax said after the last creature retreated. "You're sharper than I expected under stress." Kara glared at him. "I was doing fine before you showed up." He shrugged. "Sure, blame it on me. But we survived, didn't we?" Night fell, and the valley became eerily quiet. The wind whispered through the cliffs, carrying the scent of alien flora. Kara and Dax sat near their small fire, exhausted but alert. "I hate this," Kara admitted. "I hate needing you. I hate that this plant, it makes me feel like I can't control myself fully." Dax looked at her, expression softening. "It's not about control, it's about survival. And right now that means we need each other, whether you like it or not." Kara said nothing. Pride battled with practicality. She hated the thought of relying on her rival, yet the truth was undeniable. Without Dax, she might not have survived even the first day. As she settled against a rock, Her mind wandered to the strange plants, the humming sounds, and the alien creatures. Every challenge they faced was a test, not just of their physical strength but of human ingenuity. Kara realized that she couldn't just react to danger. She had to understand it, anticipate it, and outsmart it. Dax, meanwhile, stayed vigilant, scanning the valley for any signs of movement. He had seen humans face danger before, but this planet was different. Everything was alive and unpredictable. Every step they took was a calculated risk. By the middle of the night, Kara's heightened senses began to calm slightly. The plant's effect wasn't gone, but she had learned to channel it, using it to stay alert rather than letting it control her. She shared her discovery with Dax, and together, they developed a plan to avoid plants that caused the reaction, while using their effects strategically to detect danger. Morning arrived with a soft greenish glow. Kara and Dax stood outside the shelter, surveying the valley. The storm was gone, leaving the landscape quiet but tense. "We need a long-term plan," Kara said. "This valley is safe for now, but we can't stay here forever. We need water, food, and a way to signal for rescue." Dax nodded. "Agreed. And we need to avoid those plants as much as possible. They're dangerous if uncontrolled, but they can also help us. Your senses gave us an edge yesterday." Kara gave a small, reluctant smile. "I suppose that's true. I just wish it didn't come at such a cost." As they prepared to explore further, the alien valley seemed to watch them, alive with silent energy. Every step they took was measured, every decision critical. The rivalry between Kara and Dax had not disappeared, but necessity forced cooperation. And for the first time, Kara realized that perhaps she could survive this hostile world, not alone, but with the unexpected support of her enemy. Their journey was far from over. Alien creatures, strange plants, and unpredictable terrain awaited them, but Kara and Dax had learned the first rule of survival on this planet. Human ingenuity and cooperation could overcome even the deadliest threats. And as they moved deeper into the valley, they both silently acknowledged an uncomfortable truth. They would need each other to survive. Whether they liked it or not, their rivalry had become a partnership. And in this alien world, that partnership might be the only thing standing between life and death. The valley stretched endlessly, mysterious and dangerous. But Kara and Dax, side by side, were ready to face it. Their survival depended not on luck but on human courage, skill, and adaptability. And in the face of a world that seemed determined to challenge them at every turn, they had already taken the first steps toward victory. The valley was quiet in the morning, but Kara knew better than to trust appearances. The alien world seemed calm only on the surface. Beneath it, danger waited. Her body still hummed with the residue of the silverleaf plant's effects. The sensation made her restless, alert, almost like her instincts were sharper than usual. She flexed her hands, trying to focus on reason over instinct. Dax was already inspecting the terrain ahead. "We need to move," he said. "The shelter is safe for now, but we can't stay stationary. Food and water are limited, and the signal for rescue is still impossible to send." Kara nodded. She had learned to rely on Dax's foresight, even if she hated admitting it. "What's our plan?" she asked. Dax spread a small map of the area they had sketched during the last 2 days. "We follow the valley north. There's a ridge that overlooks the terrain. If we can get there, we might spot a safe path or water source, but it won't be easy. The cliffs are unstable, and the alien creatures are more active in higher ground." Kara glanced at the map, noticing jagged lines indicating unstable rocks. Her stomach tightened. "We'll have to climb?" "Yes," Dax said, eyes serious. "Carefully. One mistake, and we fall, or worse." The trek began. Kara's heightened senses made every rock, every movement, and every sound sharper. The valley walls towered over them, casting deep shadows. Alien plants glimmered in the light, some releasing faint clouds of mist. Kara instinctively avoided them, knowing the effects could make her vulnerable at the wrong moment. Hours passed. They climbed rocky ledges, leapt over crevices, and navigated narrow pathways that required both courage and precision. The alien creatures were never far away. At times, glowing eyes peeked from cracks in the cliffs and Kara's heart raced. The plant's effect added urgency to her instincts, making her react faster than Dax, though he had more experience in physical challenges. "Careful," Dax warned as a loose rock tumbled near Kara's feet. She froze, heart pounding, then carefully adjusted her footing. Finally, they reached a ledge that overlooked the valley. The view was breathtaking. Rivers of golden liquid cut through the landscape. Forests of strange, silver-leaf plants shimmered in the distance, and distant cliffs glowed faintly under the alien sun. "Water," Kara whispered, pointing toward a river below. "We can go down carefully and refill our supply." Dax scanned the area. "Agreed. But we move as quietly as possible. Those creatures can smell and detect movement. One wrong step." Kara nodded. They descended carefully, Kara's body reacting instinctively to each move. Every step was calculated, every grip firm. The alien world demanded attention, and Kara had learned to listen to it. When they reached the river, Kara crouched to test the water. It was safe to drink after minimal filtration. She filled their containers while Dax kept watch. Kara couldn't help but study the plants near the river. Their shimmering silver leaves released a faint mist. She made a mental note. Observe them. From a safe distance, avoid contact, and learn how their effects might be useful in survival. Once their supplies were secure, they continued north along the riverbank. The terrain changed again. Dense alien forests blocked the path and the ground became soft and uneven. Kara's heightened senses were both a blessing and a curse. She could detect subtle movements and distant sounds, but the constant alertness was exhausting. "Rest," Dax said finally, noticing her fatigue. "We move too fast, we make mistakes, take 10 minutes. Kara leaned against a tree, breathing heavily. 10 minutes? She muttered. "We could be attacked in that time. Better to be alert after resting than collapse halfway through," Dax replied. During the break, they shared their personal stories, something neither expected. Kara spoke about her work as a biologist, her fascination with alien life, and why she pushed herself so hard in the field. Dax talked about his engineering background, his years of missions in hostile environments, and the experiences that had shaped his resilience. Despite their rivalry, they discovered they respected each other's skills. Kara realized Dax's sharp thinking in crises complemented her analytical mind. Dax realized Kara's scientific knowledge gave them an edge in understanding the alien ecosystem. Their cooperation, born out of necessity, was beginning to feel like an unspoken alliance. After their brief rest, they moved deeper into the forest. Kara noticed strange markings on the trees, patterns etched into the bark, glowing faintly. Alien intelligence? She wondered aloud. Could be, Dax said cautiously. Or natural growth patterns. Either way, we should be careful. If there's intelligence here, it could be watching us. Suddenly, the forest floor shook. Small rocks tumbled down the slope. A creature with 6 legs and a luminescent body appeared, its many eyes fixed on them. Kara's body reacted immediately, instincts sharpened by the plant's effect. She dodged, then rolled to the side, narrowly avoiding the creature's strike. "Move!" Dax shouted. They sprinted through the forest, using their combined skills to avoid obstacles and confuse the creature. Kara's heightened reflexes allowed her to anticipate attacks and guide Dax through narrow gaps. Together, they managed to evade the predator, finally finding a small clearing to catch their breath. Kara's body was still restless, the plant's effect lingering. She felt frustration and fatigue, but also a strange sense of clarity. She could feel Dax's presence beside her, equally alert, equally committed to survival. "We can't keep running blindly," Kara said. "We need a plan to navigate this forest and avoid the creatures systematically." Dax nodded. "Agreed. We'll mark paths, use the terrain to our advantage, and avoid plants that trigger your heightened state. It's not a weakness. It's a tool if we use it wisely." Kara gave a small smile. "A tool, huh? Never thought I'd hear that from you." Dax smirked. Survival makes people say unexpected things. For the rest of the day, they moved with caution and intelligence. They marked paths, avoided dangerous plants, and monitored the creature's patterns. Kara's heightened instincts, though exhausting, gave them an edge. She could sense danger before it was visible, anticipate movement, and react faster than Dax. By evening, they reached a small plateau overlooking a massive alien canyon. The view was breathtaking, but it also revealed the next challenge. The canyon floor was littered with strange creatures and silver leaf plants, and the cliffs on the opposite side were unstable. "We cross tomorrow," Dax said. "We rest tonight. Plan carefully and use your heightened senses to guide us." Kara nodded, though she was wary. Her body still reacted strongly to the plant's effect, making rest difficult. She lay back against a rock, eyes scanning the sky, alert even while exhausted. That night, the forest around them was alive with sounds. Distant calls of alien creatures, the rustle of plants, and the subtle hum of the planet itself. Kara realized something important. The planet was not merely a setting, it was a living challenge. Every plant, creature, and terrain feature tested them, pushing their physical and mental limits. Dax sat quietly, keeping watch. He had begun to notice the subtle ways Kara's instincts had saved them. He understood that survival wasn't about brute force. It was about adaptability, intelligence, and the courage to face constant uncertainty. Kara drifted into a restless sleep, her mind half alert to the alien world around her. The plant's effect lingered, sharpening her instincts even in dreams. She knew that tomorrow would be even more challenging, that the canyon crossing would test them in ways they could not yet predict. And yet, something had changed between her and Dax. Necessity had forged a cautious respect, an unspoken agreement that survival depended on cooperation. For the first time, Kara realized that perhaps being forced to work with her enemy was not a weakness. It was a strength. When the first light of morning touched the plateau, Kara and Dax were already moving. They approached the canyon cautiously, assessing every step. Kara's instincts guided them. Dax's engineering skills solved physical challenges, and together, they made progress where either alone might have failed. The journey was far from over. Alien creatures, strange plants, and treacherous terrain awaited. But Kara and Dax had learned something crucial. Survival on this planet demanded more than strength. It demanded intelligence, adaptability, and the ability to work together, even with someone you considered your enemy. And as they began the careful descent toward the canyon floor, Kara felt a quiet determination. The planet would challenge them, test them, and push them to the limit. But humans were not easily defeated. With courage, skill, and cooperation, they could survive anything, even the most hostile world in the galaxy. The canyon floor was a maze of jagged rocks, strange silver leaf plants, and glowing streams of golden liquid. Kara and Dax moved carefully, scanning every movement, every shadow. The planet seemed more alive than ever, testing them at every step. Kara's body still reacted to the distant influence of the silver leaf plants, her instincts heightened, her senses sharper than normal. "We need to find a way across that ridge," Dax said, pointing toward a plateau on the other side of the canyon. "From there, we might spot structures, or something that could help us communicate with Earth." Kara nodded. "Agreed. But those silver leaf plants are everywhere. If we get too close, I'll lose control again." Dax studied her expression. "We'll be careful. We'll use ropes and support each other. Together we can manage it." They began the careful climb. Kara led, using her heightened instincts to detect unstable rocks, loose soil, and potential hazards. Dax followed, setting anchors and securing ropes along the steep slope. Every movement had to be precise. One misstep could mean a fall into the canyon below, with creatures waiting to take advantage. Halfway up, Kara froze. "Something's moving," she whispered. Her eyes darted to a shimmering patch of mist rising from a nearby group of plants. The creatures were hidden there, drawn by the scent she carried from the silver leaf plants. Dax tightened his grip on the rope. "Stay calm. We'll get through this. Just follow my lead." With Kara's guidance and Dax's engineering tools, they carefully bypassed the mist, avoiding the creatures entirely. Kara's heightened senses were a blessing and a curse. It allowed them to anticipate danger, but the constant alertness was draining. Finally, they reached the top of the ridge. The view was extraordinary. Far below, the canyon stretched endlessly. In the distance, partially covered by alien forests, stood a massive structure, clearly not natural. Its walls shimmered with an unknown metal, and strange symbols glowed, faintly on the surface. "Alien architecture," Kara whispered, awe mixing with caution. "It's old, but advanced." Dax squinted. "Could contain technology that helps us survive, or signal for rescue. We need to investigate." They descended carefully to the structure's entrance. The ground around it was littered with debris, strange devices that hummed faintly, and plant life that seemed unusually organized. Kara approached one of the devices. When she touched it, a soft glow spread across the surface. "Do you feel that?" she asked. "It's responsive." Dax examined it. Some kind of interface, possibly biometric or reactive to touch. "Let's be careful. We don't know what triggers it or if it's dangerous." Inside the structure, they found a vast hall filled with alien machines and intricate devices. The walls pulsed with soft light, and the floor beneath them vibrated faintly. Kara's instincts screamed caution. She moved slowly, analyzing patterns in the alien devices. "Look at these markings," Kara said, pointing to a series of glowing symbols. "It's not a language we recognize, but the patterns suggest sequences, maybe instructions or codes." Dax studied a console nearby. "If we can understand the sequences, maybe we can operate some of this. It could help us communicate or even defend ourselves." As they explored, Kara accidentally brushed against a console. Lights flickered, and a holographic display sprang to life. Strange diagrams of planetary systems, devices, and unknown energy sources appeared. Kara's body tensed. The silver leaf plant's effect made her senses almost painfully sharp, but it also allowed her to notice subtle patterns in the holograms. "This is incredible," she whispered. "We could learn so much from this." Dax nodded. "And survive if we're careful. Let's figure it out." Hours passed. Kara studied the alien symbols, recognizing recurring patterns. Dax manipulated the devices, adjusting controls, pressing buttons, and redirecting energy flows. Together, they managed to activate a small communication beacon. It flickered weakly, signaling a potential connection to Earth. "Finally," Dax said, relief in his voice. "At least we can call for help now. The structure might also provide shelter from the planet's dangers." Kara smiled faintly. "We did it. Together." She realized that cooperation had become more than necessity. It had become strategy. Her rivalry with Dax had shifted into cautious respect. But the planet was not finished testing them. Suddenly, the floor trembled. The walls of the structure pulsed more strongly and the symbols glowed brighter. Kara stepped back, instincts screaming that something was wrong. "Earthquake?" she asked. Dax shook his head. "Not natural. I think the structure is reacting to us, or the plant's effect on you." Kara's heart pounded. Her heightened senses detected a subtle change in energy around the devices. "We need to shut it down," she shouted. Dax tried to manipulate the controls, but the sequence was complex. Holographic symbols shifted rapidly, and a low hum filled the hall. Kara realized she could anticipate the next step. Her instincts, sharpened by the residual plant effect, allowed her to predict the machine's behavior. "Press the third sequence, then the diagonal panel," she yelled. Dax followed her instructions, and the humming slowed. The lights dimmed, and the structure became calm again. "We're lucky," Dax said, exhaling heavily. That could have been worse. Kara nodded, still catching her breath. Your engineering skills and my instincts, they saved us twice today. Dax smirked. Seems like a good team, huh? Kara rolled her eyes but smiled faintly. Don't get used to it. With the structure stabilized, they explored further. They discovered rooms filled with alien supplies, food storage, energy sources, and even small vehicles capable of traversing rough terrain. Kara studied the biology-based tools, realizing the aliens had integrated their environment into technology. Dax inspected the mechanical devices, noting how they could be adapted to human use. This could extend our survival, Kara said. We could live here for weeks if needed, learn from the devices, and prepare for rescue. Dax nodded. And it gives us a base to explore the planet safely. We can map it, avoid dangers, and use the plant's effects strategically if we understand it better. That night, Kara and Dax set up a small camp within the structure. The alien walls offered shelter from predators and storms. They shared a quiet moment, the tension between them easing slightly. I didn't expect to admit this, Kara said softly, but I respect your skills. I wouldn't have survived this long without you. Dax looked at her, surprise flickering in his eyes. I respect yours too. You're sharp, focused, and fearless. Even with that plant effect, you never faltered. Kara smirked. Flattery won't get you anywhere, Riel. He chuckled. Noted, but teamwork does. For the first time, they allowed themselves a moment of peace. Outside, the alien world continued its strange rhythms, glowing plants, distant creatures, and faint hums from the planet itself. Inside, Kara and Dax had found a temporary haven and a chance to regroup. The structure, ancient and mysterious, offered more than shelter. It offered knowledge, a connection to alien technology, and a glimpse of hope for survival. Kara realized that the planet was not just testing their physical limits but also their ability to adapt, cooperate, and think creatively. And as they prepared for the next day, Kara felt a quiet confidence. With human ingenuity, teamwork, and courage, they could face whatever the planet had in store. The journey was far from over. Alien dangers, strange biological effects, and unknown technological challenges awaited. But Kara and Dax had learned something vital. Humans could survive even in the most hostile conditions, if they used their minds, skills, and worked together. And in that moment, despite their rivalry, they were no longer just survivors. They were explorers, strategists, and a team capable of overcoming nearly any obstacle. The planet was dangerous, unpredictable, and alive. But Kara and Dax, side by side, were ready. And the structure, filled with alien knowledge and technology, was their key to survival and perhaps their ticket home. The alien structure hummed softly, its walls glowing faintly with the remnants of the planet's energy. Kara and Dax Riel were exhausted but alert. They had survived storms, predators, and the strange effects of the silver leaf plants. Now, they faced the final stage of their ordeal, signaling for rescue and making it back to safety. The communication beacon they had activated 2 days ago flickered weakly. Kara adjusted the controls, careful to avoid the delicate alien interface. Dax watched, holding a small tool to stabilize the energy output. Almost there, Kara said, voice tense but determined. We need to amplify the signal before the planet interferes again. Dax nodded. We can do it. But we move fast. The structure is ancient. Too much time could trigger more defensive mechanisms. Kara focused, her instincts heightened from the plant's lingering effects. She detected subtle energy pulses within the console, patterns that indicated the best sequence for the signal. Press the second panel, then the diagonal switch, she instructed. Dax followed precisely. The beacon flared, sending a bright pulse into the sky. The energy spread in all directions, cutting through the alien forests and across the valley. Kara felt a sense of relief mixed with tension. That should reach our orbiting station, she said. Now we wait. Outside, the planet remained alive and unpredictable. The wind shifted, carrying the scent of silver-leaf plants. Kara's body reacted immediately, restlessness and heightened alertness returning. She glanced at Dax, who was scanning the horizon, with careful eyes. "We need to stay vigilant," he said quietly. "Even if rescue is on the way, this planet doesn't forgive mistakes." Hours passed. Kara and Dax used the time to prepare for their journey back to the crash site, where a shuttle could retrieve them. They packed supplies, reinforced the alien structure for temporary shelter, and created markers to navigate safely through the forest and canyon. During the wait, Kara reflected on everything they had faced. The storms, the creatures, the strange plants. It had tested every skill she possessed. But more than that, it had tested her ability to work with someone she had considered an enemy. Dax's calm thinking, mechanical skills, and strategic approach had saved them countless times. "You know," Kara said, breaking the silence, "I didn't think I'd survive this, or work with you this long." Dax smirked. "Lucky for you, I'm persistent and apparently indispensable." Kara rolled her eyes but smiled faintly. "Indispensable, huh? Don't get too proud." He chuckled. "Noted. But survival makes people appreciate the unexpected." By late afternoon, faint lights appeared in the sky, signs of the approaching rescue team. Kara felt a surge of relief. They had endured days on the hostile planet, faced countless dangers, and navigated alien technology. Now their ordeal was nearly over. "Prepare for extraction," Dax said. "We move fast and stay alert. Last thing we need is a mishap right at the end." They descended the ridge carefully, Kara's instincts guiding them past unstable rocks and patches of silver-leaf plants. Dax followed, ensuring the ropes and anchors were secure. The canyon below stretched endlessly, but Kara felt more confident than ever. She had learned to channel the plant's effect into heightened awareness, using it to detect danger rather than succumb to it. Finally, they reached the river where they had collected water days before. The alien creatures were absent, and the path to the shuttle was clear. Kara and Dax moved quickly but carefully, marking their route to avoid mistakes. The rescue shuttle appeared in the distance, its bright lights cutting through the alien dusk. Kara felt a rush of relief, tempered by caution. The planet had proven unpredictable at every turn, and she knew it could still surprise them. "Almost there," she whispered. As they approached the shuttle, a final test emerged. A group of creatures drawn by the residual effects of the silver-leaf plants on Kara appeared between them and the shuttle. Their glowing eyes reflected in the fading light, and their movements were fast and coordinated. Dax grabbed Kara's arm. "Stay calm. We've handled worse." "We move together." Kara nodded. Her heightened senses picked up subtle weaknesses in the creature's movements. She guided Dax, dodging, weaving, and using the environment to their advantage. Rocks, roots, and narrow passages became tools in their strategy. Together they made it to the shuttle. Dax activated a small defensive mechanism, creating a brief energy barrier that distracted the creatures. Kara sprinted the final steps, boarding the shuttle and helping Dax climb inside. The ramp closed, and the shuttle lifted off. Kara looked down at the alien planet, still glowing faintly, alive with energy and danger. They had survived, not just through strength but through intelligence, courage, and cooperation. Inside the shuttle, Kara and Dax finally allowed themselves a moment of rest. The tension eased, replaced by the satisfaction of survival. Kara looked at Dax, noticing the same exhaustion mirrored in his eyes. "You know," she said quietly, I respect you more than I thought possible." Dax gave a small smile. "And I respect you. You've proven your instincts and intelligence are invaluable. We make a good team. Reluctantly, yes, but a good team." Kara smirked. "Reluctantly is key. Don't forget that." The shuttle climbed higher, leaving the alien world behind. Kara felt a mix of relief, awe, and gratitude. The planet had been a challenge unlike any other, testing every skill and instinct she possessed. But humanity's resilience, adaptability, and ingenuity had carried them through. By the time they reached the orbiting station, Kara and Dax were welcomed with relief and admiration. Their reports detailed the planet's biological effects. The creatures, the silver-leaf plants, and the alien technology Scientists were fascinated by the findings, but all Kara could think about was how she had survived, and how she had done it with someone she once considered an enemy. During the debriefing, Kara and Dax presented their discoveries. The alien structure, its technology, and the plant's effects would become a subject of study for years to come. Humanity had learned something extraordinary. Even in the most hostile environments, survival depended on intelligence, strategy, and cooperation. Later, when the debriefing ended, Kara and Dax stood together, looking out at the stars. For a moment, neither spoke. They had faced storms, predators, alien flora, and ancient technology. They had survived when survival seemed impossible. Finally, Dax broke the silence. "You know, we make a decent team." Kara raised an eyebrow. "Decent? That's faint praise coming from you." He chuckled. "Reluctantly decent, then. I'll take it." Kara smiled, a mix of pride and amusement. Reluctantly decent is acceptable. They both looked out at the stars, thinking about the planet they had left behind. It had tested them, challenged them, and forced them to rely on each other. And in doing so, it had revealed a truth about humanity. Courage, ingenuity, and cooperation could overcome even the most dangerous worlds. Kara knew that the experiences on that alien planet would stay with her forever. She had learned to trust, instincts to rely on intelligence over brute force, and to recognize the value of working with someone, even a rival, toward a common goal. Dax had learned something too, that human ingenuity, observation, and adaptability were as vital as any mechanical skill or technology. Together, they had faced a hostile world and survived. As the shuttle docked with the station, Kara and Dax prepared to share their findings with the wider team. Their journey had ended, but their story would inspire others. Humanity's ability to endure, adapt, and thrive, even in the harshest conditions, was stronger than any challenge the universe could present. And in the quiet moments between reports and briefings, Kara and Dax shared a small mutual respect, a recognition that rivalry could transform into partnership when survival demanded it. The alien planet had been dangerous, strange, and unpredictable. But humans, Kara realized, had a strength that no storm, creature, or technological puzzle could overcome: the ability to think, adapt, and work together. For Kara and Dax, that lesson was personal. They had survived. They had learned. And they had done it together. The stars outside the shuttle's window shimmered vast and endless. Kara felt a quiet confidence. Whatever worlds awaited humanity, whatever challenges lay beyond the stars, they could face them. Together. And the alien planet, dangerous though it had been, was now a testament, not of fear, but of human courage, ingenuity, and resilience.